If you've been watching the Fredericksburg area for the last year or two, you already know this region is growing. But unless you live down here, it's almost impossible to see how much is actually hitting all at once. There's a $10 billion project breaking ground in the city that nobody outside the region is really even talking about. And honestly, that's just the beginning of it. So let's get into this because we got a lot to see. 2026 is a bigger year for this region than most people realize. First of all, this is the fastest growing planning district in all of Virginia. The George Washington Regional Commission put this region at around 407,000 people as of mid-2025, up nearly 8% since 2020 census. That growth rate puts this region ahead of every other planning district in the state. And the growth is directional, meaning the people landing here are coming straight out of DC, Northern Virginia, and Richmond, often as people who were priced out of North or looking for more house at a fraction of the cost, and sometimes even betting that this corridor keeps building towards them. And then you have the growth that fast forces everything. The data centers, the new subdivisions, the road projects, none of that happens in a vacuum. And speaking of them, when we get to the data center fight, really what the different counties are doing and what they're choosing, you're gonna want the context, okay, that actually makes that make sense to you. So keep watching. All right, but let's keep chatting. So one of the things I'm trying to say here is that this is the region building its way out of the pressure all those new residents actually created. See, in 2026, it's already the year that a lot of this stuff we're talking about becomes visible on the ground at once. And it's not one project at a time, right? Maybe the way that headlines cover it. But the full picture of a region reshaping itself, which is the thing you can't see from the relocation video shot from up north. Now, the single biggest development announcement in this region's history just got real. And most people outside this corridor haven't even heard a word about it. And that is the $10 billion project coming to the city. Now, in early 2025, the city of Fredericksburg voted 7-0 to create a technology overlay district on roughly 250 acres out at Celebrate Virginia South area between Gordon Shelton Boulevard and Hilton Drive. Hours after that vote, Silver Companies and Stack Infrastructure announced a potential $10 billion agreement to build 8 to 12 data centers on that site. Now that sounds like a lot because it is. So let's unpack this. Here is what is really interesting. What made this different was the by right structure, because each data center can be built now without a separate special use permit fight. That means the city made a bet that the tax revenue is absolutely worth it. Now, however, the full build out is still waiting on water agreements from the city council, Dominion Energy delivering new transmission power to the site. So this is early stage, but the framework is locked in and the commitment is 100% real. This kind of commitment, it changes a city's budget for a generation. And a city is not the only jurisdiction where this build is actually happening. Now, real quick, before we get deeper into this, if you're watching and trying to figure out if now is the time to make a move down here, that's the conversation I have every week. So would you just reach out? My contact information is in the description. We'd love to chat. But let's get back to the video. The data center wave and the fight over it is real right now. We're talking about data center build, and I have to make clear that this is something regional and it's moving fast. Vantage Data Centers announced $2 billion investment to build a hyperscale campus in Stafford with 3 buildings totaling over 7 million square feet under construction right now. Over in Caroline County, Clean Arc broke ground late 2025 on a $3 billion flagship campus offering up to 900 megawatts of grid capacity. Amazon has filed permits for an 11-building campus spanning roughly 1,100 acres across Caroline and Spotsylvania counties. Now, at full build-out, Amazon projects alone could generate over Wait for it, $100 million a year in local tax revenue. And the region is split on it. Spotsylvania spent more than a year debating whether to even require special use permit for data centers. After a 4-3 vote in mid-2025 that declined to impose the requirements, the county reversed course in February 2026 and voted 4-3 to end by right approvals. So every new data center in non-residential zones now requires a public hearing and a full board vote. Now the city went the other direction by locking in by right construction through its technology overlay district. And stay with me, because by the time we get to what all this actually means for home prices, you'll have a much clearer picture of where to focus your search. But that's coming up. So let me just finish my talk for a moment. Now there are two ways to see this, and I want to give you both, because one view is that this is the best economic development opportunity to hit this region in a generation. And that is true. I mean, the kind of tax revenue that funds roads and services without raising your residential bill. I mean, in places like Loudoun, where data center revenue is already dominant, it takes pressure off of homeowner property taxes entirely. Now, the other view is that it changes what living near it feels like, such as things like the power infrastructure, the water demand, transmission lines, and, well, noise near neighbors. I mean, a homeowner has every right to care about that. Now, both of those things can be true at the same time, and a buyer just simply deserves to hear the case for each before deciding how much weight to put on it. Because the tax revenue is playing the long game, while the housing build-out is still happening right now. Now, buyers want to know the same thing. Where are the new homes going? Great question. So let's talk about that. Where are they? Where are the new homes actually going? So guys, I get this question all the time. The headline projects are great, but what most buyers care about is where the new houses are actually landing and what's going up around them. And a lot of that is happening in Stafford and Spotsylvania, near the I-95 interchanges and Route 1 area, where the commute math really still works. Now, the most visible project right now is what's coming together at Fall Hill. That's a 34-acre mixed-use development pairing hundreds of new townhouses with retail and the region's first Trader Joe's, plus a brand new road connecting Cohen Boulevard and Fall Hill Avenue. So the infrastructure is getting built alongside of the retail. And for buyers coming from Northern Virginia, a Trader Joe's is a signal that this place crossed a threshold. Plans submitted to the city for 3430 Fall Hill Avenue include a 13,000 plus square foot specialty grocery store named Trader Joe's, plus over 350 multifamily units in 4 buildings with a clubhouse and a pool. Now, on top of that, there's another parcel going through site plan review for additional retail and restaurant space. So we have housing, lifestyle, and infrastructure all in one project here. Now, over in Stafford, the county is working to build itself something it's never really had, which is a downtown. The Fountain Park project near the courthouse area revolves around a mixed-use district with commercial, retail, and restaurant space surrounding a pretty cool central park. And also the Attain at Stafford project, which got final rezoning approval back in June 2025, brings close to 365,000 square feet of residential floor area on 24 acres near Stafford Hospital area. That's gonna have a clubhouse, fitness center, pool, a dog park. So for single family buyers in North Stafford, communities like Embry Mill, newer builds from Augustine Homes, Atlantic Builders, they just continue to expand. Down in Spotsylvania, you have the Courthouse Village area, which has largely built out its first generation of walkable amenities, but the final pieces are landing right now on that one. Ryan Homes is currently actively selling townhouses in 2 communities here, starting kind of in that low to mid 400s, and you have the walkable Village City and restaurants, cidery, coffee, farmers market, a best fireworks in town on 4th of July. That place now has enough going on that it really does feel like a real neighborhood center. But there's also new rezoning applications in the Chancellor District for 190 single-family homes on about 93 acres, which is being worked on right now. So residential expansion across Spotsylvania is still happening. The housing is moving and the retail is filling in right behind it. But there's a single project in this region that tells you more about where this area is actually going than anything else we've covered so far. That's the mega resort and lifestyle wave. Nobody pours $900 million into a place they think has no future. Kalahari Resort is opening in Thornburg, Spotsylvania County in November 2026. It's this cool African-themed resort and convention center. It has roughly 900 rooms and 175,000 square foot indoor water park. And that'll be the largest water park in Virginia. It has 10 acres of outdoor pools and 4 full-service restaurants. This is all on 135 acres right between Route 1 and I-95. And believe it or not, construction is actually ahead of schedule. Like, when does that ever happen? But I guess they do it. Go Kalahari. The signal this resort sends matters as much as the amenity itself. Spotsylvania County approved tax incentives over 20 years, which is worth more than $185 million. A Zaxby's has already executed a ground lease near the site because of Kalahari's pull, and I'm sure more retail decisions are going to follow that one. Add that to the Trader Joe's at Fall Hill and Buc-ee's approved in Stafford near I-95 around exit 140. And then you have Lake Anna, which is one of the largest recreational lakes in Virginia. And did you know that there's no horsepower limits on that lake? It has multiple marinas. It has a lake house lifestyle that you just cannot replicate anywhere closer to DC at a comparable price point. This region's lifestyle, it's finally catching up to its population. And for a buyer coming from Northern Virginia, that's not a small thing. The wow factor, yeah, used to be sometimes missing here, but that's on full display right now. Okay, now moving on. The commute question is what I hear next from almost every buyer who's gotten this far in the process. So let's be real about where things actually stand. There are roads that change your commute math. Okay, so the big road project in motion is the Falmouth Bridge replacement, which is the Route 1 crossing over Rappahannock River between Fredericksburg and Stafford. Now, the emergency repairs, that went into effect early 2025 after weight restrictions were imposed. And the full replacement is now funded at around $160 million through Virginia's Priority Transportation Fund, with construction expected to begin in 2030. And it'll run for about 3 years long. The new bridge keeps all 4 travel lanes open throughout construction, which is going to be incredible because they're going to have multiple phase approaches. And it's going to add also a 14-foot shared path, which is a real upgrade on a bridge that currently offers almost nothing for walkers and cyclists. But I have to tell you, it is funded and it's coming, just not in 2026. The Route 1 commute math doesn't improve for a few years in the future. But moving on to FAMPO, Fredericksburg Area Metropolitan Planning Organization. Ha! That's why I say FAMPO. Well, they also announced a study in November 2025 for a potential new bridge linking Stafford to Fredericksburg on the west side of I-95, which runs from Celebrate Virginia Parkway across Rappahannock River to the Gordon Shelton Boulevard in the city. Now, the planning level cost is around $200 million, and the Federal Environment Review has not been funded yet at all. These talks, y'all, have been going on for a decade. They just don't want to slap a Band-Aid over this issue. But I still think it's at least worth knowing about, even if it won't help you choose a neighborhood right now. For I-95 commuters, the corridor has more capacity than it did 5 years ago after that northbound Rappahannock River crossing project happened, which added 3 new general purpose lanes and a new bridge. There were also interchange improvements with multiple exits through Stafford and Fredericksburg, and those actually continue to move through the state program. Now, each one that gets solved, it expands the viable commute range for some neighborhoods. And for the commuter who wants predictability over speed, you have the Virginia Railway Express, which is called the Fredericksburg line. That runs through Quantico to Woodbridge, Crystal City, and into Washington Union Station. Fredericksburg to Quantico, that roughly runs about 25 minutes by rail. And that same trip on the I-95 during peak hours, that can run anywhere from 35 minutes to well over an hour. Now, to put that into perspective, VRE had about 8,500 weekday riders as of early 2026, and Amtrak is currently planning up to 60% increase in service through Fredericksburg to Richmond by 2030. Now, what that tells us is that infrastructure here is playing catch up with the growth, and that's worth knowing about before you buy somewhere. Betting on a road project to fix your commute. Now, some of these help a lot, and some are still years from being done. So with all of that on the table, what does it actually mean for your money? What does all of this mean for home prices, and where should you buy? For some context, the regional market has been normalizing since the rapid-fire years of 2020 to 2022. We have active listings broke 1,000 homes region-wide for the first time since 2022, and they're going up from there. But homes are still sitting a bit longer than a year ago. Prices have stayed modestly positive, with the regional median kind of running in that high 400s to low 500s through kind of that 2025-2026 timeframe. Now, the city of Fredericksburg, its median is around the high 400s to low 500s for single-family homes, while Stafford County runs a bit higher in the mid 540, 550 range. Spotsylvania is still the most accessible of all three, with the median being a mid 400s. The new townhouses over in the Courthouse Village area, those are starting in the mid 400s. You compare that to Fairfax or Arlington, where median has pushed well above 700,000. Well, the value case is still here, absolutely fully intact. So you get more house, more land, and more character in some pockets at a fraction of the cost. And that gap is what's driving the migration pattern. Now, not every shiny project lifts the homes next to it, and I want to be straight with you about that. I mean, the Fall Hill mixed-use project with the Trader Joe's, that's a value driver for the neighbors around it. I mean, grocery stores with that kind of brand recognition, they consistently move residential values nearby. Kalahari, another one. That resort creates a hospitality economy. That Thornburg, that area with retail, restaurants, it has jobs behind it. And so that means the homes in that area benefit from both the amenity and the commercial activity that follows. Now, the data center tax revenue is a slow-moving one that buyers almost never think about. When that revenue starts covering large shares of our county's general fund, it takes pressure off of residential property tax rates. And that's a real long-term value driver, even if you never see a data center from your front yard. And you don't really want to anyways, okay? Trust me, those things are like crazy loud. Now, I have my own money invested here. I've been on the I-95 area for over a decade, and I've done over 1,000 closings in this market. And the push I'm watching right now is the most concentrated I've ever seen it. The people who look back 5 years and feel good about this decision are the ones who understood the full picture and moved on it, actually. It's just simple as that. Well, let's close this puppy up, okay? This area is growing because of a decade of investment in data infrastructure, lifestyle amenities, housing, transportation, that's all landing at the same time. That kind of moment doesn't come around twice. So if you're serious about buying in this region and you just want somebody who knows it at the street level, well, shoot me an email at info@shawnderrickrealestate.com. Send that to me today. No pressure, no spams, okay? No follow-up calls for eternity, I promise. And if this video helped you understand really what's happening down here, hit that subscribe button right now. There's a lot more coming down the pike, and I have some really cool stuff planned. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. God bless.